Hi, my name is Alex Zaharakis. I'm president and co-founder, along with Dr. Christian Bogner of Autism is Biomedical. I'm going to be speaking with Eunice about her and her son's experience with microbiome balancing. Microbiome balancing is currently supported by a grant through the Echo Foundation. And if you want more information, you can visit autismisbiomedical.com. Hey, Eunice, thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate you taking the time to share your story. And would like you to just, start by giving kind of the background with your son and, what your experience has been, through the journey with him. So thanks so much.
Well, thanks for hearing my story. Um, we adopted our son when he was 10 years old from foster care. He's now 17. And so his early history, we really don't have a whole lot of information about. I know he was diagnosed as autistic before he was removed at age 4. So we know it was younger than that diagnosis. Um, he has multiple diagnoses with autism, ADHD, intermittent explosive disorder, OCD, PTSD. So we're dealing with a lot of different stuff there. Um, when he hit puberty, we noticed that things got very difficult. um, his meltdowns were a lot worse. Um, and in the course of things, he developed OCD, which created a lot of issues for us. He would get stuck on an idea, and there was just no reasoning with him. You couldn't. Um, I always said that it was like a person who had an itch, and you tell them not to scratch, and they can't not scratch. And he would get an idea in his head. Um, it sort of started with messing with electricity, and he thought he could fix things that weren't broken. He'd think things were broken. I think he was hearing noises with electricity to begin with, and so he thought something was wrong. And and you just, no matter what, he was going to do what he set his mind to do. And we got to the place that our whole house pretty much was locked up, most of our rooms, the basement where he would try to get to electricity. I don't know how many doorknobs we've had to replace because he would just destroy them. We got to the place that it was really 24/7, that we were just on high alert. Um, One of us was sleeping on the couch at all times with one eye open, and it was really stressful. This last year, he had a really rough year in school. He ended up in the hospital 2 different times for a total of 3 weeks. He ended the school year in a partial hospitalization school program. And it was um, just a very rough time. Some of the things that we saw in Isaiah, besides like meltdowns and the OCD behaviors, was he was very withdrawn. He didn't interact with us a whole lot. He is verbal, but he would come in and pretty much all he wanted to do was be on his computer. And it was very hard to disengage him. It was hard to get him to interact with the family, to do anything with us. Um, he, we never could get him involved in any kind of activities. We would try to find maybe a sport that would interest him, or we were constantly looking for something, but we could never get him involved in anything. He didn't have any friends. And he was just very recluse. So it was in May, I believe, that through a friend of a friend, and I don't even know who the original person was that recommended Dr. Bogner, and just said that they had saw a lot of positive results. And we were just desperate. We were like, we've tried a lot of different programs over the years, and some of them we've saw some results in. Um, but um, we were just, yeah, really desperate. And so we started working with Dr. Bogner, and he gave us a number of different supplements to start using. And we very quickly saw shifts. You'd see just little shifts in his behavior that was very encouraging to us. And Dr. Bogner then told me about the research you were doing with the stool test and all of that work that you're doing. And so we um, quickly did that. And, you know, I think we saw that he had a lot of stuff going on in his gut. We had one of the things that we had done in the past is we were seeing an autistic specialist who was, had put him on a gluten-free, dairy-free diet, had recommended, different supplements, omega-3, and I'm trying to think of, we took, I don't know, 6, 8 supplements that he recommended, but I can't really say that we saw much difference from that. Um, but once we started, then your protocol after the stool test is when we really started to see real shifts in him. And one of the things that we noticed very quickly that his anxiety was really lowering. He was a lot less anxious, and he's very aware of that. And he notices that he's not so anxious. He we haven't had a full blown meltdown in, I don't know, weeks. Since we've been on your protocol now about 7 or 8 weeks, I think it is. And what we're seeing, I would call more like teenage whining, when he doesn't want to do something, it doesn't. And there's even been different times that he kind of starts like what could be like a meltdown, and he's caught himself and he's self-regulated, which has been huge. Um, Another thing, he's becoming more aware of others. Like, for instance, at the table, if there was leftovers there and he wanted it, he would just take it, not thinking that maybe someone else would want some more too. And now he's saying, does anyone else want any more of this? He's just being aware that others have needs too. He's started coming and showing me like funny reels that he's watching. He's never done that before. He's never been one to really tell me anything. Like when he comes home from school, he's not one to tell me what happened or give me a message from anybody. And he's still not doing that. But just the fact that he's coming and saying, oh, watch this with me. And he's laughing with it, which he doesn't show a lot of emotion, happiness. He doesn't smile a lot. And we're starting to see some smiles more. And just the fact like he's wanting to come and laugh with me over a short reel has been really big for me. He still likes his computers, but he's now wanting to start to do different things. Like if we were to say we're going out to eat, he would have not wanted to go and would have resisted it. And now he's saying, can we go out to eat tonight?
Wow.
He is starting to say, can we have someone over? And engaging more with other people. He can get too much of people and he has to go off, but he's engaging more. he and his dad has joined the gym, and he's going 1 day a week. And sometimes we still have to encourage that, but then once he goes, he really enjoys it and comes home happy. Um, Yesterday, he went to a 2 hour open gym at the school after school. That was just huge for me that he did that. And they do that twice a week. And he says he's going to go back, which we've never gotten him to do anything like that before. And we have tried all kinds of things. And then today he's going to a meeting to join a bocce ball team.
Wow.
So those are like really huge things for us that he is even wanting to and following through on those kind of things. Um, he's really becoming more aware of others and the desire for friends. And that's probably causing us some issues in that it's like he doesn't really know how to be a friend
Yeah.
because he hasn't been. So some of his interactions, I think, are more elementary. And so high school kids are, don't know how to take him. And it's caused him a little stress with some friends because I think it's him coming across wrong, but he's learning. And so that's not really discouraging to me, although I hate seeing him struggle, but just he's learning later in life um, those things that these other kids maybe have learned in
Wow.
elementary school.
Yeah.
Um, I went to parent teacher conference last year. School was really difficult. We got lots of calls and but every teacher had nothing but great to say. They said that he's staying focused. He does have an aide with him, but he has that he's doing his work, he's turning it in. They said that he's interacting with other students. Um, Different teachers says that he's participating in class, raising his hands and answering questions or asking questions, and that he's even like self-advocated for himself, going and asking for things that he's wanting.
Yeah.
So those are some of the big changes that we're seeing
Yeah. Wow.
that uh, are
That's amazing.
huge for us.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. You mind if I ask just a couple of follow-up questions there? So, do you feel or has he mentioned to you that does he feel a difference? Does he, I guess when you started this program with him, you kind of said, "Hey, Isaiah, there's these 10 things or 12 things that we need you to take." Was he willing to do it? And, did he feel better maybe any way in that he responded to you?
Um, yes, I have asked him because I mean, his anxiety used to just be really high, you know, and I've asked him, do you feel a difference? And he says, yes, he feels a difference. Um, he has always taken a lot of pills, and I've never had issues with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he, of course, now it's more, and I kind of have to spread it out at different times of the day to, not overlap things and get things in there right. And sometimes he gets annoyed with me, again, but he does take it all. Um, and yeah, he has mentioned different times that he feels better.
That's amazing. Yeah. Just so everyone can get an understanding too, we recently got, the kind of follow-up test, and the test itself was also showing some significant improvements, in this particular profile. There was increases in things like bifidobacterium and faecalibacterium and reduction in some bad things that can cause anybody strife. Like there's these gas producers, they're called disofibria and Clostridium. Kind of significant positives on the test that correlate with some of the messages that you were saying there. Did he have any identifiable GI or problems in the past that made you think, hey, there may be something going on with his gut that is related to the behavior?
Um, well, one thing that, of course, Dr. Bogner, the first thing before we could start any protocol was to get him having regular bowel movements.
Hmm.
I guess I knew he struggled with constipation, but I had never tracked it before.
Hmm.
But in April, he was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and he told me he didn't have a bowel movement the whole time he was in there.
Hmm.
And that kind of set up like, oh my, I need to be more on top of this. And then, of course, whenever that was something I shared with Dr. Bogner, and of course, right away he says, well, we've got to. And it took us, I think, close to 4 months to get him going regularly. So that was a big, a big alarm for me that I realized that he was probably holding a lot of toxicity
Yeah. Yeah.
by um, he a lot of times when he's having real pain, he doesn't tell us.
Hmm.
Um, he tells us more imaginary things because he's one that if he hears, you have a toe ache, his toe is probably hurting. But sometimes when I know he's in pain and something, he won't tell us that. So I don't know if he had stomach issues that he just didn't tell us about.
Hmm.
But he had to have with not going to the bathroom for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things that if you've never been told to kind of think about it, um, until somebody says, "Hey, maybe, check in on the bowel movements," and then, maybe related to behaviors or constipation, that you start to kind of make these connections. So, for other parents out there, that's something to pay attention to. That might give you some insight and some areas to work on. Um, how difficult was the program? These suggestions. Because that's one of the feedbacks that we get is that there's maybe 10 or 12 things or 15 things that you have to kind of get and give them on a schedule, and it can be tricky. What was your experience? Was there things that we could do better to make it easier and simpler, or um,
Um, I'll be honest that when I first got it, I felt overwhelmed.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, but I laid it out and got me a plan and got a routine, and now you know it's not that difficult. But when you get all these and you have to do it different ways and mix this with juice and mix this with yogurt and this and without a meal and this one with a meal and all these different things, I felt overwhelmed. But we got it down, and this past weekend we were away, and my other son kept him, and I was able to lay it out in a way that he was able to follow it, and continue. So, um, you know, with anything, you just have to get you a plan.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's the feedback. It in the beginning it's a little jarring, and but once you kind of sit down and work with it and find the way that it works for you, like you're saying, there's some things that you may have to mix, in a certain way to get it down, for palatability or just feasibility. Um, but in the end, do you feel positive about this, whole thing, that this is something that you would do again, that you would recommend to somebody else to look into?
um, Definitely. The other day when I got back the results from the second stool test, which, I was anxiously waiting for, I told my family I felt like it was Christmas for me. I was just so excited at the positive changes. I mean, everybody around us was seeing it, but at the same time, I wanted that validation that what we were seeing was real, that we weren't just like him having a good day or whatever. Um, but no, I would definitely recommend this. And I just, we still have a way to go in your program, and we plan to go to the end um, of seeing it through. And but yeah, it's not just me seeing it; it's other people. And the school, he has uh, oh, I don't know what to call him, a supervisor or someone that's over him and corresponds with all the teachers or any kind of interaction I need. He's like my point person. And he sees such a big difference in Isaiah because he dealt with him last year and this year. And he's just really pleased with what he's seeing also.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I mean, this is so encouraging to hear. These kind of things make me, make my what I do kind of easier, and they're really rewarding. And it's also helpful for other parents to hear that maybe, are on the fence or don't know that there's this kind of gut connection that can be tapped into in autism. So I really appreciate you taking the time here today and sharing your story. And I think it's going to help a lot of other people to kind of navigate to this program, or even with another practitioner that can help them go down the same kind of testing and find similar type of compounds and things to kind of help whatever's necessary for them. Any last words for anybody listening?
I guess that I would just say if you are thinking about this, that I highly recommend it. I think it's worth, we have poured a lot of money into other things that we didn't see the results that we're seeing, and so I think it's worth it. I'm only very, very hopeful for the future,
Awesome.
that he can lead some kind of normal life of being, independent and um, I just, I feel I've always felt like he had it in him and we just couldn't get, because different times we would see this glimmer of a person, but I always said we couldn't hang on to him. He would be gone, and we're seeing that person emerge.
Yeah.
Um, and it's it's just really exciting.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. God bless you and Isaiah and your family. And, we look forward to keep on working with you and seeing some more gains. So really appreciate again taking the time here and thanks so much.
And thank you for all that you do. It is a blessing and hopefully a blessing to many more.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna stop.